Welcome to this complete guide on k-means clustering. Today we are exploring unsupervised learning to discover hidden patterns in data. Up until now, every machine learning algorithm we have looked at, like random forest, linear regression, and gradient boosting, has been part of a category called supervised learning. In supervised learning, you act like a teacher. You give the algorithm a dataset full of inputs, and you also give it the exact right answers, known as labels. You tell the algorithm, this image is a cat, and this image is a dog. Now, learn the difference. But the real world is rarely that clean. Most of the data generated in the world today does not come with neat, prepackaged labels. Imagine you run an e-commerce website and you have millions of rows of customer data, their ages, their incomes, and their spending scores. There is no right answer to predict here. You don't know what you are looking for. This is where unsupervised learning comes in. Instead of predicting an answer, unsupervised learning explores the raw data and finds hidden patterns, structures, and groupings completely on its own. And the most famous, most widely used algorithm for doing this is called k-means clustering. By the end of this video, you will understand every single detail of k-means, how it works step by step, the mathematical distance calculations, the initialization trap, k-means plus, the elbow method, and how to write the code in Python. Let's dive in. So, what exactly is clustering? Clustering is the process of dividing a massive dataset into smaller, distinct groups based on how similar the data points are to each other. We want data points inside the same group to be as similar as possible, and data points in different groups to be as different as possible. Let's look at a classic example, customer segmentation. Imagine a scatter plot. The x-axis represents a customer's annual income, and the y-axis represents their spending score on your website. When you first plot all your customers, it just looks like a giant cloud of gray dots. There are no labels. There are no colors. It is just raw data. But if you look closely, you might start to see natural groupings. Maybe there is a cluster of high-income, high-spending customers in the top right. Maybe there is a cluster of low-income, low-spending customers in the bottom left. The goal of k-means clustering is to mathematically discover these exact groups, color-code them, and find the absolute center of each group. But how does it actually do it? Let's walk through the algorithm step by step. The algorithm begins with step 1, initialization. Before k-means can do anything, you, the programmer, must tell it exactly how many clusters you want it to find. This number is represented by the letter k. If you set k equals 3, you are telling the algorithm to find 3 distinct groups in the data. Once you set k to 3, the algorithm randomly drops 3 invisible points onto your scatter plot. These points are called centroids. You can think of a centroid as the heart or the leader of a cluster. In this first step, these 3 centroids are placed completely at random. They don't know anything about the data yet. They are just dropped onto the board like darts on a dartboard. One might land near the top, one near the middle, and one far off to the side. Now we move to step 2, measuring the distance. Every single gray data point on our scatter plot now looks at the 3 colored centroids that just dropped in. The algorithm calculates the exact mathematical distance between every data point and every centroid. How does it measure this distance? It uses a classic high school math formula called the Euclidean distance. If you remember the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, that is exactly what Euclidean distance is. It simply measures the straight line distance between 2 points on a graph using their x and y coordinates. So, for a single data point, the algorithm measures: how far am I from the red centroid? How far am I from the blue centroid? How far am I from the green centroid? It does this lightning-fast calculation for every single point in the entire dataset. Once all the distances are calculated, we arrive at step 3, assignment. This step is very simple. Every data point simply asks, which centroid is closest to me? If a data point is closer to the red centroid than the blue or green ones, it paints itself red and joins the red cluster. If another point is closest to the blue centroid, it paints itself blue. Instantly, the entire cloud of gray dots transforms. Every point has now chosen a team. The scatter plot is partitioned into completely distinct red, blue, and green territories. However, because the centroids were dropped completely at random in step 1, these initial clusters are usually terrible. They don't represent the true natural groupings of the data. To fix this, the centroids need to move. This brings us to step 4, updating the centroids. Now that the data points have formed their initial clusters, the centroids look around at their new team members. The red centroid calculates the mathematical average, or the mean, of all the x and y coordinates of every single red data point. Once it calculates this true center of gravity for its team, the red centroid literally picks itself up and physically moves to that exact new coordinate. The blue centroid does the same thing, sliding over to the exact center of all the blue points. The green centroid moves to the center of the green points. This is why the algorithm is called k-means. K is the number of centroids and means refers to this exact step, moving the centroids to the mathematical mean of their clusters. But wait. Because the centroids just moved to new locations, the distances have changed. A point that was originally closest to the red centroid might now suddenly be closer to the newly moved blue centroid. So, the algorithm loops back to step 2. It recalculates all the distances. It reassigns the points to the closest centroid, causing some points to flip their colors and change teams. Then, it updates the centroids again, moving them to their new centers. This loop repeats over and over. Distances are measured, colors are updated, and centroids slide across the screen. Eventually, after a few iterations, something magical happens. The centroids move to the absolute perfect center of the natural data clusters. When the loop runs again, not a single data point changes color. Not a single centroid moves. The algorithm has stabilized. In data science, we call this convergence. The k-means algorithm is officially finished, and your hidden groups have been successfully discovered. As beautiful as this algorithm is, it has a fatal flaw. It is called the initialization trap. Remember step 1, where we drop the centroids completely at random. What happens if we get really unlucky, and 2 centroids are randomly dropped right next to each other, while the third centroid is dropped a million miles away? Because the starting positions were so bad, the algorithm will get trapped. It will converge, but it will converge on the wrong answer. It might split one natural group into 2 artificial pieces and merge 2 distinct groups into a giant, inaccurate mess. If you run the exact same data through k-means multiple times, you might get completely different, incorrect clusters simply because of where the centroids randomly landed on the first step. To solve the initialization trap, researchers invented an upgraded version of the algorithm called k-means ++. Instead of dropping all the centroids completely at random at the same time, k-means ++ drops them strategically. It drops the very first centroid at random. Then, before dropping the second centroid, it looks for a data point that is as far away from the first centroid as mathematically possible and drops it there. For the third centroid, it finds a spot that is far away from both the first and second centroids. By forcing the starting centroids to be as spread out as possible, K-means completely eliminates the initialization trap. The algorithm will now find the perfect, correct clusters every single time. Today, if you use standard Python libraries, K-means is used automatically by default. There is one last massive question we must answer. How do we know what number to choose for K? If we have no labels, how do we know if we should ask for 3 clusters, 5 clusters, or 10 clusters? We use a technique called the elbow method. Here is how it works. We run the entire K-means algorithm multiple times, starting with K is equal to 1, then K is equal to 2, then K is equal to 3, all the way up to K is equal to 10. For each run, we calculate a score called the within cluster sum of squares, or WCSS. WCSS simply measures how tight and compact the clusters are. We want this number to be as low as possible. If we plot the WCSS score on a graph against the number of clusters, the line will slope rapidly downward and then suddenly flatten out, looking exactly like a human arm. The optimal number for K is located right at the elbow joint of this graph. This is the sweet spot where adding more clusters no longer significantly improves the tightness of the groups. Implementing K-means in Python using scikit-learn is incredibly clean and simple. First, we import K-means from sklearn.cl. We initialize our model, setting n_clusters to 3. Notice we explicitly set init is equal to K-means ++ to avoid the initialization trap. Next, we call .fit_predict and pass in our data, x. Notice something very important here, there is no y_train. Because this is unsupervised learning, there are no answers to give it. We only pass the raw data features. Finally, we can extract the exact coordinates of the calculated centers using .cluster_centers_. In just a few lines of code, you have unlocked the power of unsupervised machine learning. Let's summarize everything we have learned. Unlike supervised learning, unsupervised learning explores unlabeled data to find hidden patterns. K-means clustering does this by partitioning data into K distinct groups. It works by dropping centroids, measuring Euclidean distances, assigning points to the closest center, and shifting the centroids until convergence is reached. We use K-means to ensure the centroids start far apart, and we use the elbow method to scientifically choose the perfect number of clusters. K-means is incredibly fast, highly scalable, and is used every day by major companies for customer segmentation, image compression, and anomaly detection. Thank you for watching this complete guide. Be sure to like and subscribe to learn more real-time machine learning concepts. Thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe to learn more real-time machine learning concepts like this.